Namaste to all students. Khushro Vidya, myself Jivin Dr. Khushbu Verma from Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science. Today we are going to discuss about RNA processing session, and this session is related to molecular biology program of molecular biology course of program MSc Microbiology and MSc Biotechnology second sem. So first of all, we need to understand that what is RNA processing. So basically, RNA processing is the process in which raw material of the messenger RNA, tRNA, ribosomal RNA basically processed and becomes mature and conformed or active form of the ribosomal RNA, tRNA and messenger RNA. So there are various types of the RNA processing, and we need the RNA processing because there are some kind of a non-coding regions present in the raw material of the RNA. So we need to cut out that non-coding region because that non-coding region is useless during the translation process. So if non-coding region will be present in the any type of RNA, so it will create the more length and it is basically useless for the further work. So that's why nature needs to cut out that non-coding region. So that is also a part of RNA processing. One more thing that there are some chemical modification occurs during the RNA processing, especially in the tRNA processing. And on the other hand, in the messenger RNA, like nature needs to do 5' end capping and 3' and poly A tail region, and that's how the RNA processing occurs. So if we talk about the types of RNA processing, so first type is basically cutting and trimming to generate end of ribosomal RNA, tRNA and messenger RNA. Second, which is chemical modification, which is covalent modification. So add a cap and a poly A tail region to the messenger RNA. Add a methyl group to the second hydroxyl group of the ribose sugar in messenger RNA and ribosomal RNA. Third chemical or covalent modification is extensive changes of the bases in tRNA. Third type of RNA processing, which is splicing. So splicing occurs basically to remove the non-coding region from the pre-ribosomal RNA, pre-messenger RNA and pre-tRNA by different mechanisms. Basically, the complex of the enzymes during the splicing is known as spliceosome. So now we will discuss about the first type, which is cutting and trimming of RNA. So can be used endonucleases enzyme to cut at specific sites within a longer precursor RNA, and can use the exonuclease enzyme also to trim back from the new ends to make the mature product. And this general process, cutting and trimming, is basically seen in prokaryotes and eukaryotes both, and in all types of the RNA. We can simply understand the excision of RNA by this diagrammatic representation. You can simply see here that excision of mature rRNA and tRNA from pre-RNA, rRNA in the E. coli. You can simply see this is RNA genes, and this is for 16S rRNA, this is for tRNA, 23S rRNA, because we are studying here in E. coli, so means prokaryotic cells. Details we are discussing here, and 5S rRNA coding region, and this is for tRNA coding region. So first of all, transcription will occur. It will create this 30S 30S pre-rRNA region, and cleavage of the further trimming and all will be done. So it will create 16S rRNA, tRNA, 23S rRNA, 5S rRNA and tRNA. So, but before the mature rRNA and tRNA formation in E. coli, immature or premature raw material prepares which is 30 as pre-rRNA. So that's how trimming and cutting occurs. Next one is basically if we talk about the RNA's third, which cuts in of stem loops. So basically no apparent primary sequence specificity, perhaps RNA's third recognize a particular stem structure. If we talk about the the splicing by enzymes, we can discuss here like endonuclease and exonuclease basically generates the ends of tRNA. So you can simply see that endonuclease enzyme and exonuclease enzymes are basically involved in the tRNA modification, and endonuclease RNase P basically cleaves to generate the 5' end. Endonuclease RNase F cleaves the third nucleotide past the mature third end. An exonuclease RNase D basically trims third dash to 5' end, leaving the mature third dash end. So that's how these three endonuclease and exonuclease RNase P, RNase F, RNase D basically try to generate the ends of tRNA, and they do the modification in the tRNA sequence, tRNA reason basically to modify and to make them mature tRNA. Here we can simply see the diagrammatic representation of tRNA modification or cleavage of pre-tRNA in the E. coli. This is precursor of tRNA in E. coli. 5' end is having polyphosphate chain, and this is third dash end, which is CCA. Now RNase P comes, it cut this elongated region. This elongated phosphate region will remove, and now RNase P again do work. RNase P also released. Now RNase F come, and it also create the modification, and then RNase D comes, and now this region is also removed. So this tRNA is having only complete trimmed 5' end and 3' end having CCA. So this is basically, and some chemical modification to change the to modify the bases, and after the chemical modification this tRNA becomes mature tRNA. So that's how RNA processing occurs in the tRNA maturation process. If we talk about the CCA at third dash end of the tRNA, so virtually all tRNA ends in the sequence are CCA at the third dash end, and amino acids are added to the CCA end during the charging of tRNA for the translation process. Means third dash end is basically responsible for carrying the amino acid due to CCA region. In most prokaryotic tRNA genes, the CCA is encoded in the DNA. For most eukaryotic tRNA, the CCA is added after transcription in the reaction catalyzed by the tRNA nucleotidal transferase. Means there is a basic difference of CCA addition. Means in prokaryotes, CCA is already encoded in the DNA, but in case of a eukaryotic tRNA, CCA are added after the transcription process. Means it is not encoded in the DNA. It just included after the transcription process, after the production of the raw tRNA material, and this addition can be done by the catalysis of tRNA nucleotidal transferase enzyme. So this enzyme is basically involved in the CCA addition in tRNA at third dash end after the transcription process. Now one question comes in the mind that where is the catalytic activity in RNase P? RNase-P is basically composed of a 375 nucleotide RNA and 20 kilodalton protein. The protein component will not catalyze cleavage on its own, and the RNA will catalyze cleavage by itself. The protein component adds in the reaction but is not required for the catalysis. Thus, RNA can be an enzyme. Enzymes composed of RNA are called ribozymes, means enzymes which are having basically RNA are called ribozymes. Now we come to the next type of RNA processing, which is covalent modification of RNA, means chemical modification of the RNA. In this, first of all, we can discuss like 5 dash 5 dash end and third dash end of the eukaryotic messenger RNA modifications. So at the 5 dash end of messenger RNA, 5 dash capping occurs, and add a GMP, methylate it, and first few nucleotides. On the other hand, at the third dash end, basically cut the pre-messenger RNA and addition of the poly A tail regions. That's how modification of eukaryotic messenger RNA occurs. Here you can simply see the chemical structure or initiating nucleotide modification. Here you can see this is from GTP, this is, and methylated in cap 1 and cap 2. Rest of the RNA, this is initiating nucleotide of the RNA. This is basically bind to the 5 dash and capping. How synthesis of the 5 dash and capping? So first of all, RNA being synthesized, this is 5 dash and this is 3 dash and. Now this region comes and GTP along with that hydrolyzed of the GTP occurs. Now 5 dash and capping bind to the RNA, 5 to 5 link, and RNA being synthesized, and methyl transferase enzyme happens and add methyl group to N7 of the capping carbon and the second OH of the first and sometimes second nucleotide, etc. Now we can discuss about the cleavage and polyadenylation at the third dash end. So at the third dash end, first of all, cut site happen, which cut the proteins. Basically, protein binds the nascent transcripts, and in this cleavage, CF1, CSTF, PAP, CF second, and CPSF are involved. They cleave the RNA, and further addition of the poly A tail region, and this addition of the poly A tail region require the ATP for the energy generation, because this step is energy consuming. And if we talk about the full form of these factors, so CPSF, which is involved in the basically cleavage of third dash end. So CPSF full form is cleavage and polyadenylation specificity factor. And one other factor is CSTF, which is cleavage stimulation factor. CF1 and CF2 are basically cleavage factors, and PAP is basically poly A polymerase, and PAP basically involved in the addition of the poly A tail region. RNA is processed while being synthesized. So basically, tight linkage between transcription and processing happens. It means after the transcription process completion, just processing starts, so that premature or pre-messenger RNA, tRNA, rRNA convert into the mature products, so that they can be able to produce proteins, and processing proteins associated with CTD of large subunit of RNA polymerase second And capping enzymes like messenger RNA, guanylyl transferase, methyl transferase, these two enzymes are involved in the capping of messenger RNA. If we talk about the cleavage and polyadenylation factors, so CP, SF, and CSTF are major important factors. And for the splicing factors, we need SR proteins to recruit the spliceosomes, and it can be visualized splicing on nascent transcripts in EM. We talk about the functions of the 5' and capping and poly A tail region at the third end means why we need at the messenger RNA. So both capping and poly A tail contribute to the stability of the messenger RNA basically, because most of the messenger RNA without capping and poly A tail region are basically will be degraded rapidly, because they transfer from the nucleus to the cytoplasm, and in the cytoplasm there are RNase enzymes which can degrade the messenger RNA. So that's why capping and poly A tail region are required for the stability of the messenger RNA. And second reason is basically shortening of the poly A tail and decapping are the part of one pathway or RNA degradation in the yeast. So this is basically proof for the importance of capping and poly A tail region, because why they are required, why they are so much important for the messenger RNA, just because to maintain the stability of the messenger RNA as we can do. And second function of 5' and capping basically for the efficient translation. Eukaryotic translation initiation factor 4 EIF4 basically recognizes and binds to the cap as the part of the initiation. So you can simply say that 5' and capping having two reasons for the RNA processing, and first one is basically for the stability, and second one is basically for the efficient translation, means for the initiation of the translation it is very much required. And poly A tail region is basically required for the stability of the messenger RNA. Capping having two important reasons, and poly A tail region sequence is basically one having one reason for the importance of their in the RNA processing. Now come to the splicing of the RNA. So we first of all we have to understand about the overview of the types of the splicing. So there are four major types of introns we know. Like four classes of the introns can be distinguished on the basis of their mechanism of the splicing and or characteristic sequences, like introns in the pre-tRNA, group 1 introns in the fungal mitochondria, plastids, and in pre-rRNA in tetra Hymen. And group second introns are basically in fungal mitochondria and plastids, and third one is basically introns in the messenger RNA. If we talk about the splicing of the pre-tRNA, so introns in the pre-tRNA are very short, about 10 to 20 nucleotides, have no consequences sequences, and are removed by a series of enzymatic steps. First of all, cleavage by an endonuclease, phosphodiesterase enzyme to open cyclic intermediate and provide a third dash and OH group, activation of one end by a kinase with ATP hydrolysis step, and the next step is basically further ligation of the ends with again ATP hydrolysis, and last step is basically phosphatase enzyme required to remove the extra phosphate on the second hydroxyl group, means remaining after which basically remain after the phosphodiesterase enzyme activity. So these are basic steps which series which is followed during the splicing of pre-tRNA. Here you can understand it more by this diagrammatic representation. This is intron region, brown color, of 10 to 20 nucleotides. First of all, endonuclease enzyme attack on this and create the through 2,3 cyclic phosphate, these two regions, and this is exide intron region which is non-coding region. Now phosphodiesterase enzyme kinase with ATP, ligase with ATP, and phosphatase occurs, and this separated two regions becomes together, and this is proper spliced tRNA, which is not having any kind of a intron region. If we talk about the splicing of group 1 and group 2 introns, so introns in the fungal mitochondria, plastids, tetrahymenia, pre-rRNA. So group 1 basically requires self-splicing. It initiates the splicing with a G nucleotide, means if there is guanine, so it will start the splicing and uses a phosphoester transfer mechanism, does not require any ATP hydrolysis process, means it is not energy consuming step. If we talk about the splicing of second group of introns, it is basically depends on the self splicing. Initiate splicing with an internal A region, means adenine region, uses a phosphoester transfer mechanism. Does not, it is also does not, it basically does not require any kind of a ATP hydrolysis process. If we talk about again for the splicing of the messenger, pre-messenger RNA, so the intron begins and ends with almost invariant sequences. For example, 5-GU and AG at the 5' end use ATP to assemble a large spliceosome enzyme complex, and mechanism is similar to that of the group second fungal introns, means initiate the splicing with an internal A adenine and uses a phosphodiester transfer mechanism for the splicing. So this is the sum up of this session, and the key points of this session are basically like how many types of the RNA processing, and what is the basically chemical modification in tRNA, and one more thing, why 5' end capping is required for the messenger RNA, and poly A tail region addition also why it is required. So that's how you can learn about the session, and these key points are very much important in the context of competitive exams. So now this is the sum up of this session, and this session is powered by digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University Jaipur. If you have any query, then mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.